Good evening, guys. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. This is your transfer show. We did have the FPL roundup originally planned, but there's that much stuff going on at the minute and breaking news and breaking stories that we thought we'd change that till tomorrow because we've got quite a lot of things to discuss. It's going to be an absolute jam-packed show. So to help me navigate through these stories, we have Shreyas and Sam. How are we doing, lads?
Yeah, doing fairly well. How are you doing, Nick?
Really good. I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you, Sam?
I'm alright. It makes it a point now because it's got to the point now where, because I've not asked for so long, I've kind of made it a bit where I'm not going to ask ever now.
Yeah.
So Shreyas makes it a point now to just make sure he asks because Nick feels upset when he doesn't get asked. But yeah, I'm alright. Been to the gym, feel good, feel positive. It's good.
Yeah, man, getting your pump on. Right, if you're new to the channel, you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We're on 452, which actually reminds me I owe you a lot of shots. So what I'll do is I'm gonna throw Sam and Shreyas some quickfire transfer related questions, so people get involved in the comment section. And as I ask them, I'm gonna do a shot of whiskey for you lot because we hit 450 whilst we was actually off air. I think it happened whilst we weren't live. So as we know, the real with Real Reds Talk is every 50 subs that go up, I do a shot of whiskey. That's how we work. So the first question I want to ask you is, whilst I'm going to pour my shot now, who would have been a better signing, Casemiro or De Jong?
Casemiro.
Why?
I think because if we would have still gotten De Jong, it wouldn't have eliminated the biggest problem in our squad, which would have been the central defensive midfielder. Because we've seen how we struggle against teams that actually own. Like teams against like Southampton, which actually have players like Ward-Prowse and Romeo, and even teams in the bottom half of the table, or teams in which play a lower block, and that's because our CDMs are not really that great at passing out from the back or actually taking pressure off and linking the midfield into the attack. And even if we had gotten Frenkie de Jong, it wouldn't have eliminated the problem because we've had good central midfielders before. We have a good cam as well, and we have got decent attacking options as well in the squad. But without a CDM, there's no link, and ultimately our centre backs get pressured because of it. We saw against Brentford as well as Brighton how much Lisandro used to get pressured just because the central defensive midfielder was basically invisible. So ultimately all the pressure just shifts to the centre backs, which makes it difficult to play a high line as well. So I think Casemiro any day.
Ten Hag said the cement between the stones, didn't I love that analysis. Absolutely love it. Sam, what about yourself? De Jong or Casemiro? Like, if you said at the start of the window, it's like, right, I know obviously the CDM thing's been a reoccurring theme with yourself, but if you said at the start of the window, Frenkie de Jong, Casemiro, which one would you have taken?
There's two questions really. Like, me personally, I think we were crying out for Casemiro at number 6. Somebody's a destroyer, somebody to break up play, take the ball off the defence and give it to the playmakers in Bruno, Eriksen, whatever. In terms of what Ten Hag wants to do, clearly he was not looking at a number 6. He wasn't looking. Like, we didn't get linked with a DM the entire summer. Like, there was a few rumours of Ibrahim Sangare, but that was about it really. There wasn't too much to it. So clearly Ten Hag has a different philosophy. He was looking at not having a 6. He was looking at De Jong being his deepest lying midfielder and playing in a slightly different way. But obviously that's now changed. He's brought in Casemiro, so he's sort of changed the system and adapted it a little bit. So for me personally, I think Casemiro, but I think for Ten Hag it was probably De Jong.
Okay. Name one transfer outside of the top 6 you would have signed for United.
Kamara, Villa.
Yeah, I forgot about Kamara. Forgot about
all right, because we got a DM. I'll pick Botman at Newcastle.
Okay. Shreyas, what about yourself? And happy 450, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I would have taken Paulinia from Fulham. I think he's a decent shout. He's really good, has good ability on the ball, and very young for the kind of ability he has. So I think he could fit right into Ten Hag's system as well.
How much did Fulham pay for him? Was it not Fulham? Was it Fulham? Yeah, it's Fulham.
Fulham. Yeah.
How much did they pay for him?
15, 12, 15.
Really? Is that it?
I think so, yeah. because Fulham aren't really known for actually pulling off 30 or 35 million signing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. If you had the choice now to bring in a world-class keeper or a world-class right back, which one would you choose?
World-class right back.
Okay, Sam?
Yeah, I think to Ten Hag, a right back's most important because obviously he plays with full backs. They play high and wide. Needs him to be equally good at defending and as equally good as attacking. I think Dallow's decent, but I don't think he's the exact caliber that Ten Hag is looking for. Clearly, he's brought in Malacia to do that, and he's seemingly took Luke Shaw's place quite easily. So I think a right back's more important to style of play. If we could bring in both, I think he would. I think he'd bring in another goalkeeper, but I think the priority is probably right back. Only just, though. Only just.
Yeah, I agree with that. How much money do you think United will total by the end of this transfer window?
What are we on currently?
Well, we bought Lissandro, we
50,
bought Malacia.
So
that's about
Lissandro's
70 mil,
55. Malacia,
Malacia 15.
70.
70. And then Casemiro's, Casemiro's 60.
Well, it's 60 plus 10 in it with easy add-ons.
So 70.
140.
So 140.
Yeah.
Probably 200, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because if we're going to get onto Antony in a second, but if that deal goes through, you could even clear 200, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Potentially. What was the last question I had? Cody Gakpo for 35 million or Antony for 95 million euros?
Gakpo for 35 mil because he's cheaper and he can play in a multitude of positions because he can play centrally as well as on both wings, whereas Antony, he can play on both wings, but he's really strong, isn't he, on like one? Yeah, and he can't play centrally, and also 100 million is a lot of money, for a guy who's definitely talented, definitely got potential, but it's not worth 100 million for me.
We're definitely going to dive into that. Shreyas, yourself?
I think considering the way we are in this window right now, we could actually, realistically just pull off one more signing. So I would, approach it in a way whether we could just get one of them, either Gakpo or Antony. In that sense, I would go for Antony. The only reason being situations are pretty unclear at Manchester United right now. So wouldn't mind if the Glazers end up actually paying more, because who knows if they are not even in at the club after 3 to 4 months. It wouldn't really matter how much we pay for Antony. Completely new ownership.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point you make. Let's dive into some transfer talk, because the first story we're actually going to talk about is Antony. We have to start with this. Fresh reports coming in the last hour and a half. This morning started off with Romano saying both Ajax and Antony side waiting for Manchester United. New official bid since yesterday. New proposal expected this week to push again after the 80 million euros got rejected. Personal terms already agreed, and Antony wants a United move. Just in regards to his replacement, Ajax looking at Hakim Ziyech. They've already had a couple of meetings with him. They're just waiting on to see how much they make from the Antony deal in order to, how much they've got to pay for Ziyech, basically. Another bit branch of this story, Antony's representatives are staying in London for the remainder of the transfer window to help complete a move to United. Antony is determined to move to United and is waiting for the club to agree a fee. Ten Hag wants to recruit a left-footed forward as there is an acceptance at United. They have too many attackers of an identical profile. That was building up in the day, and then just in the last hour and a half, we've had Sky Cave and Darmesh, I think it is, who said, reporting the new improved bids apparently 95 million euros, with add-ons included in that as well. A deal to be done this week if it goes through. What the fuck are we doing paying that? Like, that's my first question. As soon as I saw that, what are we doing paying that much money for Antony? Like, he was talking about Gakpo then, 35-40 million. He had better stats than Antony last season. Gakpo had 25 goal involvements last season. Antony had 8 goals and 4 assists. And I know the game isn't all about stats, lads, but like, I've watched them both. They're both very good players, but Antony isn't a £100 million player. Like, just talk to me about that price tag initially, because it's mental.
I think when you take Antony into the conversation, I think realistically he's still just a 45 to 50 million player. Yeah. And as far as we've conducted ourselves in this window, to be very honest, I think this is a signing that we could have pulled off before July, realistically speaking, because if we could have done that, then we would have been in a situation where we would, even if we had to overpay, it wouldn't have gone past 60 million. Right now, because Ajax have pretty much lost out on every first team player they had, they are obviously going to hike the price for Antony. They're going to want to make as much as money as they can for him. But still, I think for a player who's playing in the Eredivisie, shelling out 94 million, practically, making him a record signing for us as well, by selling out 94 million. I really don't think that, considering the stage he is in his career right now, whether even if he comes for that price, will he be able to, live up to the price tag? Because we've seen that, players have been good for us, but it's because of the price tag that, we aren't really able to see them in that light. Because if you actually, get someone for 95 million, it means they practically need to be, pulling out at least 8 on 10 or 9 on 10 performance week in and week out. And that's not the kind of, expectations you can actually put from a player who's just joining the Premier League from the Eredivisie. So I think it's going to be a very complicated transfer and could actually have repercussions for Antony as well. So yeah, for me, it's going to be a big gamble.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section as well, guys, what you think about this, the amount of money we're spending on Antony. If you think it's a good deal, if you'd sign him yourself or maybe go for an alternative. Sam, I know you was skeptical about the deal initially happening, but I was looking at it before. I was listening to that Sky Carry, and he mentioned the fact that Ajax only generate about 100 to 110 million in the year because the Eredivisie obviously isn't as profitable as the Premier League. So obviously that amount of money for them is massive, and I personally can't see him turning it down. But yeah, are you a bit more encouraged with this deal now? Do you see it happening, or are you still staying on the line that you don't think it'll happen?
I think the more the money goes up, the more likely it is to happen. Because clearly Ajax want triple what this guy's worth, otherwise he's not going anywhere, because obviously they've had the team stripped for parts this season. So I think the more money goes up, I think more likely it's to happen. I think United personally should go for Gakpo. I think it's a better option. It's cheaper. It means we've still got money in the bank, and we could get in a right back, or we could get in backup goalkeeper, get another player in. I think we spend 195 million plus add-ons on Antony. I think that's our business done for the window. I think no more's happening after that. There's a couple of comments. Anwar Mori, when is Messi joining? He's not ever joining Manchester United. Sorry. Ashley Dallow, shout out to Ashley Dallow in the chat. We are looking for the hat trick. We already are at the double Anthony Marshall, Anthony Langer, and now we're after Antony. Yes, we've got 3 Antonys in the squad. Shout out to Game Tangere. He's put some flags. I'm not sure what that flag is. Can you tell us what that flag is, mate? I'm trying to work it out.
Have a look. I'm usually good at this kind of shit.
Yeah, I don't know that flag. I apologise for my ignorance. My geography is not great.
Let me have a look.
But yeah, 95 million is a lot for a young player he's had one good season in the Eredivisie, decent stats, very exciting, gets you off your feet and stuff like that. But it's more money than Jadon Sancho. I wouldn't say he's a better player than Sancho. It's more money than Raheem Sterling. Don't think he's better than Sterling. So you're paying a lot of money. Just a couple more comments and then I'll let you go on to the next one, Nick. Hashidalo, very happy to sign Antony, whatever the amount, because he looks world class. Problem is that he's Brazilian. He exploded in the Eredivisie just like a certain Anderson. The rest is history. Sort of slating on Anderson there. Disgraceful.
I know.
JD
as well. Sorry, go on.
JD, the wish the Glazers panicked by at the beginning of the transfer market. They would have gotten these players. Ten Hag wanted at a cheaper price. Yeah, pretty much. Adam, did I miss a shot of whiskey? Yes, you did, mate. Sorry, but get us up to 500. Nick will do another one.
Happily.
Let Nick drink.
Yeah.
Let me drink. Feed me. Feed me. I want to touch on the point you just made then, Sam, about you said Raheem Sterling. It got me thinking before. Wingers in comparison who have either gone this season or maybe they're about to go. You've got Bernardo Silva, who's linked with Barcelona for about 80 million euros. You've got Gakpo, as we've already mentioned, put up better stats. He's half the price. Mane went to Bayern for 40 million. Sterling went to Chelsea for 40 plus add-ons, I think it was. Kuleska went to Spurs for 30 plus 10 add-ons, and we're paying 100 million euros for Antony. I think when you put that kind of perspective on it, it's like that is
Pedro Neto's going to Arsenal for 60. So it's like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
And Pedro
It's-
Neto's Premier League proven. I hate using
Yeah.
them words, but he's an exciting player. He's Premier League proven. Anthony's very good, don't get me wrong. And what I've seen him in the Champions League as well, he's done very well. And I think the reason why Ten Hag is really pushing it is because he knows his talent and he's worked with him before. So I trust Ten Hag in that sense because he's brought in Malacia. Malacia's hit the ground running. Lissandro's done the same. So you can only hope that Anthony does. But I'm very skeptical about the price tag, and I don't think he'll live up to it, just in my personal opinion. I also thought as well, if you're going to seriously overpay on that, why not pay the wages that De Jong's owed and the transfer fee if you're going to pay that much money for Antony? Because De Jong was a priority signing for Ten Hag. It was his #1 signing that he wanted through the door. So why then spend 100 million on Antony when you could have just got De Jong with that?
The pressure as well. The pressure it puts on the poor kid for 100 million, and you've got to come to Manchester United. He's going to get so much scrutiny, so much criticism. It's just like, he put all that pressure on. He's a young guy as well. He's not old. He's like, what, 21, 22?
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure to put on him. Like, you saw Jadon Sancho was already putting pressure on, and he was only for 70 odd mil. Put 100 million on a guy who's never played English football in his life. It's his first time in the Premier League, and he's playing for Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world and the most scrutinised clubs in the world. It's a lot of pressure to put on the lad. If you get like Gakpo and 35, 40 million, people... Yeah, they're going to criticise him because he plays for United and stuff, but 35, 40 million, if it doesn't work, people are not going to be too sort of wound up about it. But if Antony is nothing short of exceptional, he's a failure in everybody else's eyes because he's coming for 100 million. Look what's happened to Maguire, 80 million, and people are just like, he's a complete failure. Like, if Maguire would have came in for 40 mil, 45 mil, I don't think we'd be having the debate and the conversations that we're having about him currently. I think we'd be like, it's not really worked, stuff like that. I mean, the captaincy doesn't help either, but yeah, it's just, it puts pressure on players and it puts pressure on teams when you pay that amount for a player and they don't hit the floor running. Like, it's too much for them. So that you got to think about that as well.
Well, two players, Shrey, as we've seen in a similar position, instantly come to mind. Jack Grealish, 100 million, went to City. Yeah. Even though City's a lot smaller club than United, still massive pressure. Everyone talking, you spent 100 mil on Grealish, are you mad? Blah, blah, blah. He's done okay for him, but he hasn't exactly, lit up the Premier League, I would say, in my personal opinion. And then you've got someone like Eden Hazard, who went from Chelsea to Real Madrid for 110, was it 100 mil? Something like that. And completely flopped there.
Pogba.
So, do you think that...
Pogba for 90 odd mil to United. Didn't work.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of him around that price tag where you just like... hasn't really worked. Do you see that being a case for Antony? Obviously, it's hard to predict because you never know with the Eredivisie if it's going to translate from there to the Prem. It's worked with Lissandro. It's worked with Malacia. Would you be hopeful that you think Antony would work in this system?
I think one of the plus points about Antony working at United would have to be that, Ten Hag is the manager.
Yeah.
And, Ten Hag has basically, made him the player he is right now.
Yeah.
He signed him from, absolutely nowhere, got him in, made him one of the biggest prospects in Europe right now. Because I think even if Antony doesn't leave in this window, next season, a lot of clubs are going to be coming in for him. No doubt about it, I think. And instantly, I think next season, a price tag of 70 to 75 million would be more realistic for him. Because then,
still think it's overpriced for him, 75 mil. Still think it's far too high of a price tag.
I'm saying... Yeah, but I still think that, if he still stays at Ajax this season, has a, good season there once again, then he can actually, you can actually go to the likes of 70 million because when multiple clubs are coming in for a single player, the prices eventually they go up. And considering, we've seen how Ajax actually work with the younger players when they actually sell them off. You've seen De Ligt, you've seen De Jong, even Donny van de Beek, Ziyech, their entire squad. They know how to make money off their players, and with Antony, yes, the price tag is going to be a big issue if he does come in this window because we've seen players flopping because of it. We've seen even if players have been average, they aren't really considered that good. And of course, when you're a player for Manchester United, you carry that target on your back from the media, and when you're a record signing for Manchester United, especially considering how the air around the club is right now, he's going to carry a massive target on his back. Yeah. And if he doesn't, and that's the thing, if he doesn't perform week in and week out, he has to hit. If he comes, he has to hit the ground running If he doesn't hit the ground running, the media is going to slander him every single week. We've seen it happen with Lisandro, who's come in for about 50-55 million. Imagine what would it be like for someone like Anthony who would come for 94 or 100 million.
I think the market's mad at the minute. I'm looking at set deals that are going through. And I'm seeing, we was discussing it before, weren't we, in the chat, Anthony Gordon from Everton for 60 million.
70 now.
Chelsea, 60 or 70 million. It's just like, and then you've got like Richarlison for 60 million. You've got Rafinha, who very similar to Antony, both explosive wingers, left-footed, Brazilian, play on the right. He's gone to Barca for 50 million. And then we're paying 100 million for Antony. It just doesn't make sense to me. And we brought in Lisandro Martinez for 55 million. He was their player of the season last season. He was their most consistent performer, and he done really well. So you look at that, and we even overpaid for Lisandro. We was all saying at the time, if you're looking around 35, 40 million, that's how much we should have paid. But because we went in for Yuri and Timber straight off the bat, we ended up paying more. This is almost double Lisandro, the fee we pay for Lisandro. And if I read quite a lot about Ajax with the European lad and Mark Verwide, the journalist surrounding Ajax. And they say with Antony, he is a very talented player, but he's not consistent a lot of the time. And they wouldn't put him in the realm of like your Lisandros, how they perform for Ajax and other players like Timber and Gravenbach, let's say, for example.
I think
so. He's paying a lot of money for promise.
I think wingers and forwards in the early stages are always very inconsistent, apart from like rarities like Haaland, for example. I think wingers and stuff take a while to develop. I think they hit the prime later than a lot of other sort of types of players. So I think that's sort of an issue there with Antony. But the price tag is the outstanding factor. Just a couple of comments, Nick. Lewis Jackson, who gives a shit about the cost? The fans go on about prices like it's their money. No, but the thing is, the Glazers will then use that as an excuse to not invest in other areas or not invest in other players. That's why it annoys me. Hashidal, let's be true to ourselves. We're never going to get players cheap on our price because of the mess we're in. Very true. Lewis Jackson, wasn't Antony at Old Trafford last night? Not that I know of. Was he? No. Lewis Jackson, De Jong is coming. He's not. Don't be starting that. Do you know where Tagliafico went from Ajax to Lyon FC? Did he go to Lyon? Tagliafico?
Yeah. They got him because they didn't get Malacia.
Lewis Jackson, I'll tell you what's overpriced: the Tesco meal deal. Is it? I've not bought a Tesco meal deal for a while.
No, Tesco meal deal ain't overpriced. It's $3.50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lewis Jackson says it's
we still do a meal deal.
Yeah. Lewis Jackson says it's overpriced. Hashidalo, every player at teams buying at high prices is a risk. If Antony succeeds at Man United, you ought to do a video of apologies, done deal. I'm not going to apologise for an opinion. Like, this is my opinion. I'm not going to apologise for opinion.
Fucking day.
Yeah, like I thought Falcao was going to be an absolute storm. Like, it's going to work. Didn't fucking work. I'm not apologising for it. It's an opinion. We cannot forget post-COVID prices have inflated. Yeah, pretty much. Man United board laughing. Yeah, pretty much.
They won't be laughing when they get stung by Ajax for 100 million for a window. Mental. All right, let's move the. Go on, Treyas. Last point.
On the owners, I would say they're pretty much counting on this Antony deal right now. They don't actually mind paying 100 million because they believe that if they do sign him for such an insane price, then the fans won't really have anything to say to them. But
that's the annoying thing about it.
Yeah, I think right now they're just trying to delay it as much as possible so that they can get the most interaction possibly they can. Probably on deadline day, Antony gets announced or something like that, because they do need something to actually maintain the hype and actually maintain the fans as well, because they know they are under a lot of pressure. I think winning against Liverpool, the wind about the Glazers completely changed, because I think if we had drawn or even lost against Liverpool, Antony would have gotten announced the next day, or even Frenkie de Jong. I think the deal would have gone through.
I think we would have signed Gakpo and Antony by this point if we had lost against Liverpool.
Yeah, because they always need something to spin about the entire negative air around them. But I think right now, even though we do get Antony, I hope the fans are able to stay united on this path, because we can't let them, you can't give them any chances. We've given them, enough chances. I think they were very lucky to evade the Super League protest by they just made a spin by firing Ed Woodward off. So I think this season Anthony could be that spin off which they actually need.
Yeah, just a couple points on that. I disagree with you two guys where I think if we would have lost to Liverpool, we would have just gone and got him like that. I think the negotiations would have took a while anyway, just my personal opinion. I think it's funny how after the Brentford game, when we lost 4-0, it was like we're getting both Gakpo and Antony.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we beat Liverpool, it's
and De Jong,
cool
they wanted to get De Jong as well. They wanted to get De Jong as well. Apparently, we're still going, and now they're just getting Antony and Laurie Whitwell's. I know we'll get into it later. Laurie Whitwell's reporting about De Jong, so I'm just saying that's what happens.
We've both. Let's let's touch on the De Jong story because it's the elephant in the room. It's the Dutch elephant in the room. It's obviously a divisive. Is that the right word? Am I saying that right? Divisive figure in the transfer market. It's splitting the fan base quite a lot on what's going to happen, especially within the Real Reds Talk WhatsApp group. Laurie Whitwell and Simon Stone both reporting Frenkie de Jong deal is off after signing Casemiro. Like I said, Sam, we've got different opinions on this, but for the sake of a conversation, how embarrassing would this be now if we spend all summer trying to sign him? He's practically Barca want to kick him out of the club. He wants to work with Ten Hag. This has come out, he said this before. We flew out to Barcelona and we still can't seem to finalize. Twice. And we still can't seem to finalize a deal. Like, it almost feels like, the masking it with Casemiro, if it's to go how you believe it is. I obviously feel different, but just your personal opinion on it.
Yeah, just a couple of comments and then I'll get into my opinion. Too much Jaff Antony. I'm not hearing positive concerning Antony. Really, fans should be happy when we don't sign players. They're angry when we sign the negative. I'm not negative about Antony. Antony is a decent player, very talented. Potential is like in abounds. He's a very good player. I'm concerned about spending 100 million on him and then not being able to buy other areas where we clearly need areas. I'm not slagging Antony off in any stretch of the imagination. I think he's a good player and I want him at Manchester United. I think he'd be good. I'm concerned about the price. That's what I'm concerned about.
Also, can I have a quick point at that as well? Just like that comment. United always throw money at issues. They don't buy astute in the market. They don't look at like players in detail and go buy him. They just get a big price tag and he's a lot of money. Go get him. They don't specifically research these kind of players. They don't like that. Well, Ten Hag wants him, so we'll just throw 100, 110 million at him. That's my issue with it. Yeah, I feel like the money could have been spent better.
Yeah, he followed up with Antony had a great season. Let's focus 50-50, positive, negative. Your opinion's negative. It's not negative. It's just based in reality. Good player, too much money. That's 50-50 for me. I think I'm quite sort of unbiased on that. I think I'm quite on the approach for that. Lewis Jackson, De Jong is coming. You will see. He's bloody not. Anyways, yeah.
Keep it going in the comment section.
Yeah, keep it going with De Jong. Yeah. I think for United to get to the end of this summer, this transfer window, and we haven't signed him, it's probably one of the biggest embarrassments for John Murtough and Richard Arnold, because Ten Hag made it very, very clear as soon as he started, this is who I want, this is my number one target, this is who I'm building my team around, go get him. And we spent 14, 15 weeks dicking around, pissing about, offering him this, offering him that, and then Barcelona with their absolute mess of financial circumstances they've got going on, don't want to pay him the wages they owe him. Xavi wants to keep him. Laporta wants to sell him so he can register Koundé, who they still haven't registered.
I think it's done now. I think
have they done it now?
Yeah.
I know that yesterday they couldn't, but maybe. Yeah. So the mess that's at Barcelona, there's so much going on. And then Richard Arnold and John Murtough have spent weeks dicking around with price negotiations and wage restructuring, all this other shit, and it's just got to the point now they should have pulled out weeks ago and just gone, look, this is not happening, got Casemiro and then gone and get somebody else to come in alongside the midfield, because we need midfield reinforcements. So for me at this point, I don't think it's happening. Obviously Laurie Whitwell has said, he's tweeted out, this deal is over, it's done, it's not happening. Simon Stone said a similar thing, and they're quite reputable journalists. I believe a lot of the stuff they get spot on. Obviously, not everybody's 100% right, and stuff can change because it's football. But yeah, for me, this deal's done. It's highly, highly embarrassing for the structure that we've got above Ten Hag, and he's been in position for only a few months, and they've already let him down continuously in transfers. Obviously, we've got Casemiro in, which is a great positive. Sandro Martinez, fantastic. Eriksen, great. But we needed so much more. Ralph Rangnick said we needed 10 players in this team. And when we lost to Brentford, we were getting 3-4 players. We were getting Gakpo, Anthony, De Jong. Who else were we getting? Dest.
Well, apart from Antony, we've got none of our primary targets, really.
Yeah.
We didn't get Yuri and Timber, who we really wanted to start. We didn't get Darwin Núñez, who we wanted, who we're going to pay similar money for now in Antony.
Didn't get De Jong.
And we still need a striker. Not got De Jong so far.
It's just for me, I think we beat Liverpool, and the Glazers went, oh, we don't need to buy all these players now, because one, our public image is better because we beat Liverpool. The fans are happy. Half of the fans are just going to forget that we're in dire straits just before this game. We could pull the money back. We could tighten the purse string, save ourselves some money, which means more money in our back pockets, less money. Like, we're still not. When's this fan share scheme happening that we were promised 2 years ago?
Yeah,
that's not happened, has it? When's this communication? There was supposed to be Zoom calls with the supporters trust and Must and stuff, like regular calls.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened. When's the stadium reinvestment happening? They've painted a bit of red on the fucking outside of it, and then they ran out halfway anyway. Like, they painted it halfway in there to fucking go get more paint. Yeah. So all these promises that the board has promised and said they're going to do, they haven't delivered on, and I don't believe them when it comes to De Jong or transfers, especially now we've beaten Liverpool. They're going to be like, right, shop's closed, money in your pocket, not fucking happening anymore.
Do you know this thing United fans always get through it, and when they say, oh, well, they spent money. This Antony narrative now is going to feed into that. Because they're going to go, what you on about? He spent 200 million in the transfer window. And you're like, yes, I know, but you haven't spent right. And this has been the issue for the past 10, 20 years or whatever. Like, it's 10 to 12 years, sorry. That's been the issue. I want to ask you a couple of questions straight as the first one. Hypothetical situation, but if De Jong ends up staying at Barcelona and says he decides to take legal action, let's say, for example, could this be a deal we revisit like the Jadon Sancho? Like the Jadon Sancho one, basically.
It could. It definitely could. It could be a deal like Jadon Sancho. It could become a saga like Serge Milinkovic-Savic. It could turn out to be anything, I would say. But once again, I think the biggest issue right now for Frenkie de Jong is how is he, looking himself staying at Barcelona right now? Because Xavi has pretty much come out and said he doesn't really, even if Frenkie stays, he might be playing as a centre back. He might not be, playing in as a central midfielder. And I think it's going to come down to another fact, which is Netherlands are in the World Cup, and even Frenkie de Jong is going to want game time in order to, feature in the World Cup. The World Cup is going to be a big deal in all of this. And right now, at the way it is looking, I don't see Frenkie de Jong getting game time as a central midfielder over there. And I don't even see him getting game time as a centre-back, because they just signed Jules Koundé in there as well. They've already got Araujo, PK, they've got Garcia, they've got loads of centre-backs. And Christensen on a free, they got this season as well.
That youngster, is it Araujo?
Yeah, Araujo. Yeah. So, for me, the way I'm seeing it, Frenkie de Jong won't get game time if he stays at Barcelona. And if he doesn't get game time, he wouldn't be called up to the national team for the World Cup. And if a winter transfer could happen, but as far as I'm seeing the situation right now, the Glazers don't really, go in for winter transfers that much. The only time they do.
Market. That's what they put out in it.
Exactly. Because last season when Rangnick was here, he gave a list as well during the winter window that he wants 3 to 4 players. We didn't sign anyone. And before that, the only winter signing we made was Bruno Fernandes. And that happened only because of the fact that we couldn't sign Erling Haaland. That's where the 50 million got really invested.
I think way before that as well, it's like, I think Evran Vidic was signed in January, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I think that era was completely different.
No, I'm saying like this years ago, like recently, past 10 years.
Bruno was desperation as well. Like, the team was floundering. Like, we were suffering. and they brought Bruno in and they saved us Champions League. This is what's happened with these with Casemiro and possibly Antony. We were absolutely drowning and like, oh fuck, we're gonna have to spend some money to sort this out.
Yeah.
And now it has sorted itself out. They'll just go back, right, shop's closed again,
Yeah.
no more signings.
And it is typical of the Glazers how they've come out about it. We beat Liverpool. The next day, the first statement that comes out is that Man United are actually, the deal is off. The reason is that the De Jong deal would be very costly. And just before the Liverpool game, we were talking about having a 200 or 300 million transfer budget because of the Glazers selling some stake or something like that. That the money is pretty much flowing in. We have a 150 million euros injection. We are getting Antony and Gakpo as well as De Jong, a right back as well as a backup goalkeeper. 5 players were being talked about. Now we're in a situation where we're saying, okay, De Jong deal is off. We are not getting a right back. I still think that the goalkeeper signing is just to create some air that they're working on something, but they're completely not. The only transfer I see happening now would be Gakpo or Antony, just one of them. Except that I don't think any transfer is going to happen now, and the only reason is the Glazers just believe that they just need one statement signing. Like Jadon Sancho last season, they invested 75 to 80 million on him. They said that we've spent cash, and they managed to get Ronaldo in for about 30 to 35 as well. So for them, it was that we've pretty much done all we can.
That's the
can't really
constant
do anything
narrative
about it.
around the Glazers, isn't it? That everyone feeds into it. It's well, we threw money at it, and yeah, that's how you solve all your issues. But it's just like, it reminds me of like if you're a baby in a pram and you're crying about something's uncomfortable behind you, you probably shit yourself. And then someone puts like a candy bar in front of you. I don't know why I'm calling it candy because I'm not American. If someone puts a chocolate bar in front of you, you're instantly attracted to that, and then that gets your attention. And I feel like some of the fan base are like that. Like, we're going through shit. We've got systematic problems at the club. We've got, issues within the board, all these kind of things. And then they're like, Casemiro's here. Like, look at this, focus on this signing.
We said that at the protest, though. Like, me and Nick were at the protest. Oh, by the way, shout out to Scott Hutchison in the chat. If they signed Anthony in June, it would have got him for 50 mil. Glazers out. Yeah, pretty much, mate. Spot on.
Thank you.
Yeah, we were at the protest, and obviously Manchester United is a massive club, and it attracts people from all over the world to come see games. Like, we saw loads of foreign tourists come to Manchester United. What did they have in their hands? Massive bags of Megastore merch, brand new shirt on with a name on the back, all the stuff, taking photos and stuff like that. That's just money in the Glazers' pocket. It just keeps it going around, and it's never going to stop. They don't give a toss about us fans who actually care about the team, the way we play, the club as its history, and sort of continuing on in the right tradition. Fans just, they see Manchester United, it's like a brand, it's like Gucci or Armani or something like that. They just see that, oh, they're Manchester United, they just spend. And that's what the Glazers are after. That's all they want. They want those sort of fans. That's the fans they want. They don't want us. They don't want the fans like us. So they don't give a shit. So they just spend, and all of this sort of outside fans go, oh yeah, they spent money. They've bought this 100 million player. They bought this 100 million player. When you actually delve deep into it, like journalists have, and like we have, and like fans who sort of proper get into it have, you see the absolute discrepancies in this club and how they're just pulling money out of this club. And it's just got to the point now where fans are sick of it, but they're still making money, and they always will make money. Until we stop that, they ain't going anywhere, and they're going to be here.
Do you remember that clip we saw just before the game, Sam, when all the fans are chasing Casemiro? I bet Avram and Joel were both touching themselves watching that video, thinking, yes, love it, absolutely love it. They're all chasing him, they're all buzzing like that. It's just distraction. That's all it is. It's just pure distraction. The real problems, what's going on.
Lewis Jackson, I bought the shirt because I doubt they'd be like, Lewis bought shirts, let's sell it. No, it's not to do. Lewis, it's not the individual, it's the collective. So one person buys a shirt, don't make a difference. But if all of us didn't buy the shirt, that would do something. It put a dent in their pocket. But because you bought a shirt and then other people buy a shirt and everybody, like, it's a collective thing. It only works if everybody does it. I'm not blaming individual people to go out and buy shirts and stuff. I'm not blaming people because people do what they want with their lives, spend the money how they want to spend it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But for it to work and get the Glazers out, we need to hit them in the pockets. And to do that, all of us need to not buy the stuff.
Yeah. But also, it's down to your own personal opinion. But we think here it's one of them. If you're wearing a United shirt and saying Glazers out, it's kind of counterproductive. just in our personal opinion. That's all. But do whatever you want. It's not to us, is it? That's just our beliefs and our opinions. Football's all about opinion. If you're Eric Ten Hag in this situation, bring it back to De Jong slightly. How are you proceeding with this? Because you've got one of the best DMs in the world in Casemiro, but the main targeted you wanted above everyone else isn't coming as it stands. So do you think he'll still be frustrated as a manager, or do you think he'll be happy the fact that he's got Casemiro?
I think he'll be frustrated. I think he'll be frustrated just because of the reason that Frenkie de Jong was given the most priority. By his side as well, Frenkie de Jong was given the most priority, and it looked like he was going to be the building block around which he was going to build this side. Because the moment Ten Hag came in, the first name for a player who would be joining us in the coming window was Frenkie de Jong. And I think another thing because of which Ten Hag would be frustrated would be it was within the Brentford as well as the Liverpool game, just within that space that we got linked with Casemiro, we end up paying the cash for him, and you actually got him in as well. So, if you're Erik Ten Hag, you must be thinking, why can't they do this for Frenkie de Jong, like within a week? Why are they keeping this transfer on for about 3 to 3.5 months, practically the whole transfer window?
Yeah. Do you think he'd be mega frustrated with this activity, Sam?
I think he was. I think he was frustrated that he got spotted, and I think he's got to a point now where he's like, I need to change tack because this is not happening, and my team is falling apart. So I think that's why they've gone and got Casemiro, because this is plan B. He was saying all along that he didn't have plan B. It's Frenkie de Jong or nobody. But I think he got to the point when he's played 2 games with his team, this midfield, and realises I need to improve this drastically and right now. So he's gone plan B and gone out and got Casemiro, because he's realised de Jong is not going to happen and he's not going to get him. So he's had to change his tactic and change things a little bit. Brought Casemiro in, and that's his new plan now. Casemiro at your base, and then you'll have Eriksen and Bruno, or Eriksen and Donny, or Bruno and Donny, whatever you want, whatever combination, or Fred, whoever combination you want to throw in. That's going to be his new plan now, because he's realised he's not getting he's not getting Frenkie de Jong. So that's why Casemiro's happened, because Dan's just put it in there, signed Casemiro to reduce the intensity of the protest. Yeah, he did. But if you notice, when they brought him out on the pitch, they were all chanting Glazers out. So fans are seeing through it. Like, fans are starting to just see through the bullshit. Because even when you brought in the shiny new toy onto the pitch, like, you remember when Varane came on the pitch last season? Yeah. Everybody's like going mental. You brought Casemiro in, arguably one of the greatest defensive midfielders in the world. You brought him on a pitch, and all United fans wanted to do was chant Glazers out. So they're starting to see.
Just to play devil's advocate on this, I don't want to do it too much because I'm not trying to be a pro Glazer or anything like that. But Barcelona have put a spanner in the works with this transfer. Like, it's not all Manchester United, because of their financial cloud at the minute, what they're going through and what they're trying to do there. This has made the De Jong deal 10 times worse. So I'm looking at it from both sides of the coin. I'm thinking it definitely isn't all just Manchester United. It's Barcelona. If this was at a normal club, saying that if it was at a normal club, De Jong probably wouldn't leave or whatever. But in a different circumstance, I could see this De Jong deal happening quite quick if you wanted to work with Ten Hag and if they needed to make a sale or whatever. Just talk to me about Barcelona's current situation, lads, because it's not just United that they've affected in the transfer market. They're treating it just like basically they don't give a shit. They'll get who they want. And they'll fuck off whatever players they want, basically, who are currently at the club. Yeah. I wanted to do a little segment on Barcelona because I just think it's mental what is going on there currently.
I think right now
crackhead accounting, in it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I think Barcelona pretty much showing how you can work through and control a transfer window without having money. Because I think more than the players within their club, they have also spoiled their relations with any prospective club they actually want to buy players in the future from, because they've practically destroyed their relationship from Bayern because of how the Lewandowski deal went through, because it was said that they had verbally agreed a contract in pre-February.
They asked for the money up front, didn't they? And Barcelona were like fucking about with it, and Bayern were like, look, you ain't getting them unless you give us the money now, because we know you're not going to pay it. So
you're not going to be here in 2 years' time.
Exactly. And so they pretty much destroyed their relationships. The club legends in Sergio Busquets and Gerard Piqué, they're pretty much asking them to take a wage cut, practically
play for free.
And and except that, you know, you've got someone like Frenkie de Jong who actually wants to stay at your club, but you're still trying to offload him just because you want to get more players in. And
They're fucking over
you,
Memphis Depay as well.
yeah, Memphis Depay, they just got Aubameyang in as well. Aubameyang is about to leave to Chelsea, and except that, they have still not been able to register their new signings in Jules Koundé as well. The clock is ticking up for him as well.
That
If he
that one's
doesn't,
done. Just a thing. That one is done. On with Koundé, he can play. He's starting against Man City when they play them. So just like an update.
still, I think the way it is taken, I think for any new signing as well, it's going to be really frustrating, because if you're a new player coming in there, you would want to be, you know, integrated into the squad, start playing games, build your confidence, and, you know, no, barring the fact how they've conducted themselves in this window, Barcelona is also an iconic club, and a lot of players actually dream of playing there. But the way they're actually operating right now, especially the way the contracts are built, the way they're selling and raising money, it is very suspicious. And I think right now every club in the world is baffled as to how they are able to, you know, pull off signings like Lewandowski for about 50 million, Jules Koundé for about 60 to 65. Then they've got Rafinha in for about 50, Christensen on a free, and these players are going to take hefty wages in as well. You know, aside from, you know, just the transfer money, they're going to take a lot of money when it comes to take their wages as well. So I think something is definitely fishy over there. Something definitely is fishy over there. They still got a lot of payments that they still have to make. They still owe Malcolm money. They still owe Coutinho money. They still owe Messi money. Yeah, they owe a lot of their former players money. They still owe Samuel Umtiti some money as well. So, and they're still looking
That
to
just
get...
reminded me that it was it you, Sam. Sorry, as you said, we was on a. Oh, we've lost him. He didn't like that. Who was it? Was it Adam or you? We was discussing, and someone went, titty, and everyone just burst out laughing.
I can't remember.
It
does sound like one of our shows, though.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, Shiraz, continue your point.
And so, the question for me right now, the biggest question for anyone right now would be, how are they doing it? How is it possible for a club to, you know, which was basically near bankruptcy, to actually spend over 100 million in a window, give hefty contracts to players, and they're still looking to get Bernardo Silva and another left back in?
Like Sam said, it's just pure fucking crackhead vibes at this point. Honestly, it really is. This, like you said, then they spent in excess of £150 million, I think it is, with the add-ons and everything included. You know, they've got a massive financial cloud above the club. They're in £1.4 billion debt. There's players still at the club on astronomical wages, and they're selling parts of the club like it's a fucking Lego Death Star. It's honestly crazy over there at the minute. Talk to me about Barcelona, Sam.
I mean, what is there more to say about Barcelona at the minute? They've got an accounts department clearly run by the mafia, because I don't understand. It's like, do you know in mafia films where they go, how are you sort of making the money? They just go, don't worry about it. And they just carry on and don't explain shit to you. You're just like, no, but how you making this? Like, don't ask questions. Just let it happen.
We've got a washing machine business.
Yeah, like just we're a legitimate businessman. I don't understand it. I think managers are asking questions, aren't they? Like Jurgen Klopp was like, I don't get it. Don't understand how they're doing it. Pundits on Sky, like Gary Neville, like don't get how they're still able to operate and still making money and still able to sign players. It's beyond belief at this point, and it has to come crashing down at some point. It's probably not going to be this season, may not be next season, but in a couple of years, there's going to come to a point where all these favours they've called in and all these money sort of arrangements with the TV rights and the studio and all this sort of stuff, that's going to come to a head, because they're basically sorting these deals out. So it's like play now, pay later. That's that kind of thing they're doing at the minute. And these favours and debts are going to be called upon in a couple of years. And what do they do then? Because you've sold all your assets already. They're already gone. TV rights for the next 10 years are gone. 25% of your studios gone. You've renamed your stadium. That's done. You've changed things on your kit. Like, there's so much shit they've sold off. You can't do that again. You can only call them in once. So what happens in a couple of years when you're on the money?
Sorry to cut you in there, Sam. It's like they're quite literally stripping parts, aren't they? of the
Yeah.
club. There's literally by one, this beautiful club everyone associates Barcelona with. You think about that 09 team under Pep, many other players who have played for him. It's like one of the most beautiful clubs you can imagine. And with all the morals and the values, and then they're doing this in the
It's
market.
historic
It's
as well.
just like,
it's an historic club. Like, you have players like Johan Cruyff, who used to play for them. It's like made them famous and stuff. Like, you've got this history for this club, and now it's become an absolute joke and this commercial money making machine. And I don't get how they're able to do it, because it's supposed to be a fan owned club as well. So I don't get how the fans have allowed this to happen, and now it's been able to get put past them. I'm not sure how it works and stuff, because it's a fan owned club technically.
Their last director really fucked up for him.
Yeah,
A lot of the deals they made with Antoine Griezmann, Coutinho, Dembele on the wages, and they paid 140 mil for Dembele, 120 mil for Coutinho. They spent a lot of money on Griezmann and gave him like 700 grand a week. Like, and then they sold Suarez for 5 mil to Atletico Madrid, and Atletico Madrid went and won the league. And it's just they made so many bad decisions.
They loaned Coutinho to Bayern Munich, who then scored against them in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
ended
crazy.
Ended up paying the add-on for him because he won the Champions League with Bayern.
Yeah. Absolutely immense. I don't understand it, and I don't get it. And yeah, it's a shame, because Barcelona was a club I used to look at and I used to adore watching them and stuff like that. And now it's just, they're not my favourite Spanish team. That's Valencia, but yeah, it's a shame that this is happening to them. And it's like our club. Our club's just been ruined by shitty owners and shitty business decisions. And this is what happens to football clubs when owners get greedy and just become about money. This is what happens.
I suppose that's where, as United fans, we can kind of empathise with the Barcelona fans, because we've both got shit going on at our club that's out of our power at the minute. Yeah, crazy times with Barcelona. They're probably going to sign another 2 players before the end of the window. I think they're in the talks with Marcos Alonso from Chelsea, and they want Bernardo Silva as well. So if they get that deal over the line as well, that takes the spending above 200 million. You're considering them a 1.4 billion pound debt. They've got a wage bill bigger than ours probably. It's crazy times, absolutely crazy. Yeah, the last kind of story I want to touch on, lads, before we head off, because this is one that's really annoyed me and really annoyed a lot of Manchester United fans. Romano's come out today and said James Garner is expected to leave Manchester United in the next couple of days. £14 million. £14 million. If you look at some of the prices in the market, £40 million for someone like James Garner with high potential in the midfield as a youngster. That is just a clear sign of desperation to try to get funds in, because we couldn't sell Tellez, we had to send him out on loan. Couldn't sell Bailly, had to send him out on loan. All these players that you
couldn't sell Henderson, send him out on loan.
Yeah, it's just pure desperation. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it, because I myself are fucking frustrated. The wheels are already in motion with the transfer as well. Southampton, Everton kind of sniffing around it. It looks like one of them are going to get him, and he could be a player for them in the next 5-6 years and be a mainstay for him in the Premier League. That's how I think he's good. I do. I just think he needs time. That's all it is. And the question I want to pose to you is, do you think Ten Hag sanctioned this? And if so, why?
I think more than Ten Hag, I think it definitely comes down to the owners. Because right now, if you look at the squad, what player is practically, in a region where they can actually be sold and actually move to another club? Because if you look at any other player in the squad, they are on such a high wage that no other club would want to take them at those wages. Why would you want to take Phil Jones for about 150k a week? Why would you want to take Scott McTominay or Fred for the wages they are paid at Manchester United right now? So, and when you look at someone like James Garner, who's had a phenomenal season with Nottingham Forest, actually one of the biggest reasons why they got promoted was because of him. But still, if you actually had to put him up for sale, why 14 million when players like Gibbs White are going for 45 million? Anthony Gordon is being labelled at 70 million. So I think Garner is definitely worth upwards of 40-45 million. He's very, very talented. Much better than Scott McTominay or Fred in that central defensive midfielder spot. Very young. And we've got loads of clubs actually interested in as well. Everton are there, West Ham are there, Southampton are there. So you've got many choices. You can actually start a bidding war for him if you want to, which I personally wouldn't. If you actually want to offload someone, I would rather want to offload someone like a Fred or a Scott McTominay before want to sell someone like Garner, because he's an academy product who's actually very talented. He's not someone, who's very unidirectional or has, a very predictable game. It's sad that he couldn't really, feature that much for us in the preseason because he got injured. I think if he, would have not been injured, maybe we could have seen the best of Garner in that preseason. But sadly, we couldn't. But I think for Ten Hag to sanction this, the only reason would be, yes, I think I can make do without this player in my squad, which in a way is true, because we do have a lot of midfielders at the club right now. Whether they are good or not is a completely separate conversation, but we do have a lot of midfielders at the club right now. If you have to, just look at the CDM or CM spot, you've got McTominay, then you've got Fred, you've got Casemiro, you've got Eriksen. So
Donny.
that's 4 midfielders over there
Donny.
itself. Yeah, Donny is there as well. 5 midfielders pretty much. And then you've got someone like Garner alongside Savage and Iqbal as well, who are very young. So I think it's just a Glazer move to raise some funds. That's the only way I see it. And it's very, very sad to see someone like Garner go, because I think he could actually, wherever he goes, I think he's going to become a top talent and could end up, biting us in the future.
The way I look at it, Sam, you've got Garner there who's got a future, and they're trying to sell the guy who's got the future, who's got the potential, who could mould himself into that role, like a Carrick did, for example. Why not sell McTominay? Why not sell Donny, who is clearly not playing? Like, let's be honest, he's been giving him 5 minutes like every other coach has. Yeah. So it just doesn't make sense to me whatsoever.
No, it's got to a point. The Glazers, again, this is down to ownership. The Glazers want to sell whoever they can sell. I don't think there's any. I think you could probably, if you worked hard, you could probably sell McTominay, but I think his stock is very, very low at the minute. So I think a lot of teams would be hesitant to come in for him at this point. Donny's the same. He's not had the greatest of times at Man United, arguably not been given his opportunity. Everton didn't have a great time. Obviously, he was injured and stuff like that. I think they want to keep Fred, so Fred's not going anywhere. And then obviously you bought in Casemiro, you got Bruno, Eriksen as well. So the one sellable asset they have in that midfield is Jimmy Garner. And it's unfortunate because he's arguably the one with the most potential and the one who can play a multitude of positions. He can play a 6, he can play an 8. He's got great passing. For me, he plays very much like Michael Carrick, and we know how good he was, and we know how underrated he was. For years, people used to slag Michael Carrick off, and it's just like, this guy's a great player. And the fact, I'll ask you a question: if he was at another club, same age profile, did what he did at Nottingham Forest, came up, how much do you think United would be paying for him?
Well, yeah, it's just United. Any question revolving United around paying transfer fees, it's
about 35, 40 million, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what United to pay for him.
Yeah.
So why are we letting him go? Why are we letting him go for 14? I don't understand it. It's a stupid, ridiculously low price for him. Yeah. Also, I really, really hope that they put something in a contract that is a buyback or a first option, a refusal. Yeah. I hope there's one of those two on it, so that if he does go to Southampton or he does go to Everton and he absolutely smashes it 2-3 years in the Premier League and he gets to the point where he renews his contract, we've got a buyback clause in there, or we've got a first refusal on it, and we're like, right, bring him back to the club, and he's not going to cost us 90 million like it did to bring Pogba back or something like that. Like, I hope there's something in that we could bring him back to the club. I think it's a mistake selling him in the first place, but let's damage limitation it and let's make sure that's in there. Yeah. So if he does come good, we can bring him back to the club.
I completely agree with that. I hope they insert a clause like that, because I'm glad he's going in the first place, but if you're going to let him go, you want that clause in there. It's just funny to me because they were talking before the summer, there were so many promises about who we're going to bring in and we're going to have a clear out. But have we had a clear out? Have we, apart from Pereira, he's the only one.
They've all got on loan. On loan.
So it's not really a clear out. They're going to come back next summer and then we're going to have the same issues again, reoccurring issues. And that is down again to incompetence because of the wage structure. We can't sell anyone at all. And if we would have actually sold Pogba and Lingard for the price they're worth, let's say for argument's sake, Pogba was worth 60 mil. Lingard, you'd probably get 20 mil if he was still in contract or whatever.
Didn't they offer 30? Didn't Newcastle offer 30 million for him? 25, 30
yeah,
million?
They offered a lot. Well, we wanted a loan fee instead. We wanted like 10 million loan fee, and it was like, no. But my point is, if they would have got sold for the actual price that they're worth when they were still in contract, rather than dicking about, then we wouldn't be having to sell people like James Garner for 14 million. And that's why it comes down to the owners again. And these type of signings like Anthony for 100 mil or Casemiro for 70 mil are going to mask all these issues. And everyone, again, is going to be directed towards the shiny toy. And that's the point I wanted to make with it. It's a joke. We run like a toddler's running it, honestly. Yeah, but unless there's any other final points you guys wanted to make, I think that's pretty much everything.
Just like one thing. Again, we're down to the Glazers and the structure and the ownership. Again, we were promised a brand new structure. We're going to get the right people in the right spots and the right jobs and stuff like that. And it's the same old shit. John Murtaugh is just another Ed Woodward. It's the same fucking shite. Richard Arnold, it's just another Matt Judge. It's just the same shit over and over again. Like, got rid of loads of scouts, but who've we scouted? Like, this new scouting network, who the fuck have we scouted? Yeah. Anthony, we all knew about because he played. Like, every player that seems to be linked with us, they used to either be Dutch, they played for Ajax, or they played under Ten Hag. That's our scouting network at this point, because nobody else have we scouted where I've gone, oh, where's that guy from? Like, oh, that's interesting. All of them have been one of those three criteria, and nothing's changed. And what's the common denominator? The Glazers, the owners. That's the common fucking denominator. Get them the fuck out of the club. They're destroying this club from the inside out, and you can see the evidence even in the recruitment. The fact that we're selling James Garner, the fact that we've dicked around for 13 weeks going for Frenkie de Jong, his number one target. It's not happening. It's so fucking ridiculous. And we're here again, another season of having a go at the Glazers, another season of wanting them out, and they're still here. It's just frustrating. It's so frustrating. It's rinse and repeating it with the Glazers. That's how they're treating it. They know they buy a few shiny toys, distracts a lot of fans, but don't happen during the Super League. Varane, Ronaldo, Sancho, everyone bought it, takes the pressure off, and then people slowly forget about it. Really frustrating for Manchester United. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do, and click that notification bell, because you never know what's going to happen this week. There's a lot of stuff going on, so we will go live as and when they happen. There's a game this weekend, which I won't be present for. I'm at Creamfield, so I think Sam said he's going to do a watch-along. There'll be a preview on Friday, which I will be there for with a few of the other lads. And we'll have the FPL roundup tomorrow. So hit that subscribe button. Socials. Like the video. Yeah, like the video, and then follow all the socials that are at the bottom. Shreyas, thank you for coming on. Appreciate your time, sir. Yeah. Perfect. Sam, thank you very much yourself. You're welcome, mate. If you missed, we got to 450 before we went on air. If you missed a shot, scroll back in the video. You can see Nick do a shot of whiskey. And when we get to 500, there'll be another one. So help us get to 500. You get to see another shot quick. Perfect. Yeah. Cheers, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace.